immediately do the thing that everyone hates on podcasts.
All right. Hello there.
Hey, Joe.
Hey, Jesse. How's it going?
Good.
Excellent. Well, yeah, thanks for agreeing to do this with me.
You're welcome.
This is just an experiment, basically. But, I'm just trying to get the word out about Waynestock. And as you know, you are performing at Waynestock in at least 2 groups, in mine and your solo project. So, I'd just like to start by just asking you a few questions about what got you into doing music, I guess, and what is fulfilling about it now, and like what you see for yourself in the future, or what you'd like to do more of.
Okay. What got me into music in the first place?
Yeah.
Just being human.
Yeah.
You know. My dad. Yeah. Both my parents. Yeah.
Do you like have piano lessons when you were a kid or something, or?
Got me into playing music was getting a guitar at a garage sale when I was like 8 years old, I think.
Right on.
Like a free guitar.
Nice. And then your first band was like a few months after that or something?
Yeah, and then pretty soon after that I was signed with Double Whammy.
Oh, nice. That's a popular label for children, I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
They do kids music mostly.
That's great, man. Cool.
No, but I got that guitar, and then my dad gave me lessons, or he taught me how to play Here Comes the Sun. And
right on.
I remember being like, if I can play the Beatles, and the Beatles are the Beatles, then what's the difference between me and the Beatles?
Exactly, yeah.
Like thinking that because I knew how to play it, I could I didn't understand like the concept of like writing something or like
the whole vibe and stuff. I think that I had the
playing
same
something
thing.
well.
I had the same thing with my musical childhood, I guess, was like I started playing guitar when I was about 12, and since I could kind of like loosely play along with some Led Zeppelin songs, I was like, okay, now I understand them, I have them, and like these are mine as well. And yeah, that's where it kind of ended for me for a while. Like I didn't think about the whole playing it for other people or playing it well or like recording it or all the other things. So it's funny when you see other people going down this other road of like just being very good at sort of presenting what's theirs as opposed to like doing a good interpretation of something they like, I guess. So
yeah. But in a way it is yours if you learn it,
Sure. Yeah.
It's like you have that tool in your belt, or like you have that influence. I feel like when you learn a song, it teaches you a lot about music in general. It just gives you a lot of perspective when you really learn something that you didn't write.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Anyway.
So yeah, then you ended up in Texas somehow.
Yeah, that was Michigan, and then when my family moved to Texas, I was like 11.
Right.
To Waco.
Cool, yeah. So I first met you in about 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And you were playing with a Texan band, Hat Hair, I think. And
Hat Hair, yeah, that's where we met. You booked us.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I was living in the Bay Area at the time, and I came down for a few shows here and there and stuff, and then we just kind of stayed in touch over those times, and we didn't really do music together for a long time.
Not until like a year ago or something.
So it made our relationship a lot more colorful and complicated, I guess, once we started doing music together.
Yeah, it adds a whole nother level of intimacy.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. But that's good. That's what I live for.
Yeah. So like what's your definition of like a successful show, I guess, or performance?
Oh, well, me and Mitch were watching this video of Meek Mill this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Just like from when he was a teenager in his neighborhood with like a bunch of people in the streets, and he's just like freestyling, rapping, and everyone's like just so into it and just like singing along and ad-libbing and stuff. And it was just like, I thought just this morning, I was like, man, that's a good goal, or like that's a good definition of success or something. It's like being a leader in your community like that, and like people looking up to you creatively, musically. Just like, yeah.
I think it's like bigger picture.
Or having people sing along to your songs too is also like pretty cool. version of success.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
All right, this is
Ri-
5 minutes.
oh yeah, okay.
I'm just gonna double check, make sure everything's working. We'll
Yeah.
be right back.
Should we? Oh, let's do a clap.
Oh, yeah.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. All right, cool. So yeah, that's a great.
We didn't really
break.
clap at the same time. Let's do it again.
Okay,
1, 2, 3. That's pretty
Alright.
good.
nice. So yeah, I guess this is supposed to be a little bit about Waynestock. So like, do you have any? What's your earliest memory of Waynestock, or like, what do you think about it? I guess.
Yeah, I think I've gone every year. How many years has it gone?
Well, this will be the 4th, so we've done it 3 times. There was 2 years off during COVID, so yeah.
Yeah, every year that it's happened, I think I've gone. Let me think. I don't remember my first. I guess. Yeah, I remember Michael Brown probably sticks out. That's where I met Michael Brown.
Yeah, he's been a regular performer. He's a local comedian. It's both friends of ours.
Yeah, I thought he was really funny, and everyone was laughing and having a good time, and I remember being like, "This is great." You know?
Yeah.
It's right in Volunteer Park. I've always like been that guy who sees places like that and like, oh, we should have a music festival here,
Yeah.
but no one ever actually does that. So
Yeah, it's
Cool.
funny. It's like, I feel like there's a few things in kind of DIY music or whatever you want to call it, like that. It just comes down to like emailing people. And
yeah,
like,
just doing it.
yeah. There's been a few times where like someone has approached me and said like, oh, you're a booker, you book shows or whatever,
Mhm.
and like they see it as like some sort of like crazy skill or something like that, but it's just
Yeah.
literally just emailing people and then just
Yeah,
being persistent and stuff. So
we've talked about this.
yeah,
It's like people are like, hey, I heard you book shows. Can you book a show for me?
yeah,
And it's like, yeah, I book shows, but that like it's just a matter of doing paperwork essentially.
yeah.
Just emailing people like you could do this too. It's just I'm the one who's actually doing it. So you know.
Yeah, I think that it would be cool to sort of demystify it a little bit, because
Yeah, so let's do that. So
yeah,
you want to book a show? What do you do?
yeah. Basically, I think locally or whatever, I'd probably this isn't always true or anything, but I'd probably think about the time of the week that I want to do it first, and then
Mm-hmm.
see what my options are. Like maybe if it's a show that a place that I've liked recently that's had something good, I'll follow up with them or whatever, or just figure out a way of getting their email address, which is like oftentimes on their website, or I asked someone who performed there like how they got in touch with them, and then just kind of like send out like a pretty wide range for the places you're contacting, so they can accommodate you. Like I think being flexible to begin with
Yeah,
is good.
but
I
also being like somewhat specific. Because if you're just like, hey, we want to play a show anytime,
Sure.
then it's like, okay, well,
Yeah, they'll probably come back to you with some undesirable days first.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I think just kind of having a target or whatever, and being flexible in general. Because I guess the main goal of all this stuff is just to like kind of have a good time and have a successful time where people seem to be enjoying themselves.
yeah.
So I think that just if something if you get thrown a curveball, just like know how to handle it in general. I think I think like I'm kind of going off topic a little bit, but I think it kind of leads into just like playing music in general, I guess. Like I think that I have a few friends that say like, oh, I don't know where to begin. It'd be so great to like play a show, but I don't have a band or whatever. And like
Yeah.
I think that if you can just get someone to commit to just doing one show, like it's
You don't
like-
even need a band. Just do it.
Sure,
You can
yeah.
just do it yourself.
yeah. If you're happy to do it yourself, just say
That was my first show.
yeah. Just do just make it easy on yourself. Say you're gonna do 5 songs or whatever,
Yeah.
and then just don't think about it too much. But
Or go to an open mic and do one song.
yeah, even that, yeah.
Open mics were actually my first shows. Yeah.
Yeah. So when's the last open mic that you did?
I put together a show at the Connor Burn pub in Seattle. I don't know, probably coming on a year ago.
You put the
And-
open mic on?
No, I put together a show there,
Oh, okay.
and they have an open mic like a few days before, and they say it's like, oh, it's a good way to promote your show coming up, is like to go
Oh.
play the open mic and tell everyone, hey, I'm playing here in a few days.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay. That's
So
a
I'd-
good bit of wisdom.
So me and Guinevere, who was also playing that show, went and did the open mic, and
Mhm.
it was cool. It was like, there was a lot of people. Like, it was
Mhm.
a long night, which I didn't stay for all of, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's good that that exists, you know.
Yeah, totally. So, what can you explain the name of your project, JM Fodder? Like, where it came from?
Yeah, I think JM is just my initials, Jesse Miller.
Okay.
Fodder, I don't know. Fodder, you know, people use it like a lot of different ways. Like,
Yeah.
what it means is like cattle fodder, like food for, like cheap food for like animals.
Okay.
Fodder, you know?
Mhm.
But people say like, oh, that story is fodder for journalists,
Oh, okay. Sure. Like, yeah,
or
like
something like.
something to munch on.
Yeah.
Nothing too, like, conclusive or.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, it's just like easy.
Yeah.
And then there's also a cannon fodder, which is a
Sure.
phrase, which
Yeah.
means like basically troops in war that are like easily wiped out.
Yeah.
essentially.
Right.
Pretty dark, but
yeah, pretty sad and dark. But yeah, cannon fodder. I've heard that term before.
yeah.
My mom actually called a guy on the bus cannon fodder one time when we were kids because he was being very disrespectful to us.
Cannon fodder.
Yeah, we were on a bus in England, and this young local man was kind of being insulting to me and my brother and my mom, and that was her response to him. She called him cannon fodder. So yes, I hope he's doing all right now. But
Yeah. Then there's also the connection of canon. That word musically means like someone's repertoire.
Sure, yeah.
Their canon. So there's like fodder. Yeah, cannon fodder. Fodder's canon.
yeah, that's
I
good.
thought about having a band called Fodder's Cannon.
That's
you know?
cool. Yeah. So you're gonna be playing with a full band at your next show, right?
Yeah, with three people
Nice.
and backing tracks.
Cool.
Yeah.
Two good friends of yours.
Yes, long time collaborators.
Nice.
JB and Mason, Jesse Boteo, Mason Linus. Of
Great guys.
Yeah, college.
You met them in Denton?
Well, I met Mason in college, and I met JB in middle school.
Oh wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And where was the middle school?
Waco, Texas.
Nice.
Yep. And yeah, fodder. I was so I was like, I think it came from making beats and like
Mhm.
finding stuff that, like, when you stumble upon something that's like, oh, every chop from this sample is like really usable and cool, easy, and I was like, oh man, this is like fodder, you know.
Yeah.
And then I think that's what made me think about it, because I was trying to come up with a new band name. I used to go by Luum.
Yeah. And that was your given name?
Yes. I was born in Uganda. My parents were like kind of missionaries there. My mom does midwifery. My dad does farming work, agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know it's complicated. White people living in Africa.
No, that's cool. That's good.
But
You're kind of like Elon
I had
Musk.
kind of godparents there when I was born,
Yeah.
who gave me the name Luum, which was
Mm-hmm.
named after Janani Luum, who was a martyr in Uganda, Christian martyr who was a really good guy apparently, and was just vocally against the dictatorship there,
Mm-hmm.
Idi Amin.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I guess I didn't know the story behind that. That's cool.
And they killed him. They like murdered him in his car, and
Was
then
this in
tried to say it was accident.
Was it in like the 70s?
This was in the 90s.
Okay.
Or 80s. I should know. It was like
It's
late
okay.
80s or 90s, but it was like before my time there, but kind of fresh still.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I went by that for a long time because it was like really personal to me, and I was releasing music under that name. That was just like, I wasn't trying to do anything with commercially maybe, or I was just kind of like putting it out to have that outlet.
Yeah.
And it's personal to me, very personal music. I did everything on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt weird about like Googling like Luum or something,
Mm-hmm.
and like getting this weird mix of
Sure. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
of this martyr,
Yeah.
the history of this martyr. Like if you Google like Luum music, like there's videos of like people in Uganda doing like tributes to Janani Luum and
Sure.
stuff, and I just like felt weird about being mixed up in that, even
Fair
though
enough.
it is like my given name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do music that's more like has more of a mass appeal or something, or like
Mhm.
actually has some commercial potential.
Mm-hmm.
So just wanted to have a new name.
Right on.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could go into the thing that you told me about at some point in the last year or so with licensing your music or registering it to in venues or something like that. And
Oh, like BMI
yeah,
and
I
ASCAP?
think that's interesting. I think like a lot of
Yeah,
people
it's a
aren't
good thing to
aware of
know. Okay, so if you are a songwriter, which most bands I know of are songwriters, at least one person is.
that. Mm-hmm.
You can register with ASCAP or BMI, which are the two performing rights organizations in the U.S. that pay out royalties to songwriters and publishers of songs,
Mm-hmm.
both of them, when their music gets played in public,
Wow.
which you're legally owed because of
Oh.
how the royalty system works in our country, which is complicated and weird.
Yeah.
But so like if you'll see some venues say no covers allowed,
Yeah.
and that's because they are not registered with ASCAP or BMI as a venue,
Mm-hmm.
which you have to pay a fee. You pay a flat fee, and then any artist who's registered under whichever one, which is all artists in the U.S., you get a cover license so that any band can play their covers in the venue, and it's covered.
It's very interesting. So how does someone find out about this?
Um,
Or how do you look into it?
I mean, you can just go to bmi.com
Mm-hmm.
or org. Or I don't know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
or ASCAP. I do BMI, but I think they're equally frustrating to work with.
Uh-huh.
And you could just pay, or you can make. I think it's free to make an account as a songwriter, or maybe it's $50 flat fee for life or something.
Mm-hmm.
But so in addition to playing covers, if you play your original music in public,
Mm-hmm.
you're owed money for that,
All right. Okay.
legally. So what you do is you register with one of these companies, you put all your songs in there, and then, or the ones you're going to play live.
Mm-hmm.
I would just go ahead and put them all in there though.
Yeah.
And then you register your set lists. So you play a
Okay.
show that's registered with BMI, or it doesn't even matter. Even if it's not registered with BMI, they'll like send them a message and try to get money from you.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And
So,
then
yeah, remember to register your set lists.
yeah, you register each set list you play with BMI, or I do when I play like an accredited venue.
Yeah. So this would be like the Sunset or the Tractor or
Yeah.
locally at least. So
Mhm.
something of like that size or whatever.
Yeah, and then 7 months later,
Yeah.
you get a very small check if you play, venues with capacities less than 250 people.
Yeah.
Basically, the higher capacity the venue you're playing, the more money you make from those royalties.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good.
So it's like, even if I'm making pennies months
Yeah.
later from it right now, it's good to have it. established, because if I ever was to play like a big festival or something, I could actually probably make like a few $100 from that.
It's
Like,
good to know about for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And if I wish I would have known about that, like the 10 years I was playing shows and stuff. Because
Yeah.
we did play some pretty big venues. And
Yeah.
it would have been nice to have that little bit extra.
Yeah, we need to get the word out about this. And
But ASCAP and
Yeah.
BMI are also how you get paid if your music ever gets on TV, basically.
Okay.
On broadcast or on radio, I think. They are the ones who send you the checks, the royalty checks. So
Right on, cool.
you kind of have to, if you want any of that money, you gotta sign up with them.
Yeah. I'm just going to pause real quick, make sure things are still running okay.
I'm cold.
Yeah, it looks like things are running okay, so that's good. This is kind of a better angle of me. Shit. Okay. All right. Well, this is kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. You can scoot your chair up if you want.
Hey, how's it going?
I don't want to answer any of your questions.
Yeah, not like that. My
No.
throat's kind of dry. 1 sec.
I'm gonna smoke this cigarette. You wanna split it with me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I've been trying to take care of myself more lately, but I don't know. Still, cigarette here and there is just something that happens. But I've dramatically reduced my caffeine intake, which has been great because I was drinking a lot of coffee. So, yeah.
They say, what do you think about when they say moderation? What is it? Moderation in everything, including moderation.
Interesting. Yeah. Seems like a recursive statement or something like that.
It's just like, don't try to be perfect.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's gonna get in the way of. It's the same as like perfect getting in the way of good or whatever.
Yeah, totally. I think that one thing that with like my music is that like I'm waiting for something to happen for it before I can put it out or something. Like things need to be a bit perfect, and I'm just trying to work on consistency. So yeah, that'll just mean it's like getting things out more regularly. And I think that like this is obviously the first one or whatever, but like I think that it'll be fun to kind of get good at doing this. So yeah,
Yeah,
it'll
this
just be
is.
a nice little slice of life thing. So
I think this is good. Yeah, I've always kind of wanted to have a podcast, but been too. I don't know. It's kind of embarrassing. Like you're like, I have a podcast.
yeah, exactly. I don't really like the word podcast for some reason.
It's a dorky word.
It sounds dorky. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like radio show or TV show, which sounds really sexy.
You could just call it the show and just never refer to it
Yeah.
as the podcast.
So I think I'm not gonna. Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, people always call Wayne Stock Wayne Fest, which is fine,
Really?
I guess. But I don't like the word fest for some
Don't they
reason.
know what's cool?
It kind of cheapens it for some reason when it's a fest, and like Wayne Stock is like a cultural reference, and also
What if you had Wayneville and it was like a whole
Waynesville,
town?
A town, yeah. That's the next step, I guess. Thank you. But yeah, I think that another thing that I've kind of gained from knowing you and working with you in a creative capacity is like it's just nice having someone to help move the process along that you're confident about. 'Cause, I've had some other great collaborators like that, like Owen Whitcomb, who was in my band for a long time. Like, he was so helpful in creating a lot of the songs and arrangements for my last album. And it's really nice to be able to collaborate with him. And it's just, I don't know, it's nice to find a collaborator. Like,
Yeah.
I think that I do have a bit of an ego sometimes, and I want to feel like I can, do it all myself or whatever. But like at the end of the day, like it just helps to have someone in the room with you, getting things done, and just kind of like removing yourself from it a little bit and like letting God take over or whatever you want to call it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get take myself out of things a bit and just kind of engage with life and just whatever I come up against, see it as a blessing. So.
Yeah.
Because I think that like some people they can do everything in the studio. They can record all the instruments and they can put it out and everything. But like they might just not touch upon something else.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have like my own little skill set, and there are things that I don't think I'm a very good musician really. I think that like I can understand things, but I never like for a long time had like an emphasis on performing or something. So I really like to play with people that are better musicians than me, and I think that like even between you and me, like I think we've had like skills that have sort of complemented each other. So like
Yeah.
like when I made merchandise for you, and like
Mm-hmm.
that was really successful because it was like a little assignment or whatever for me, I guess, and it was fun. And yeah, we like dyed the shirts together and stuff, and
It's nice.
yeah, it's fun to sort of have music as like a vehicle for other things. Like I like to do illustrations and design around
Yeah,
things for my music, and that's like a fun, exciting part of it for me. So yeah.
definitely. It's my favorite bands to play in are the ones where you let every member be themselves, contribute say what they want to say creatively, musically,
Totally.
and not just like play your parts.
Totally, yeah. And
Um,
like I think that since I have a project that's my name, like I've talked about this recently with other people, like I want to make it feel like it's worth everyone's while to be involved still, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And like so I don't know. I think that like this might be interesting for people to hear, like if you have a band or whatever, like if it's your project or whatever, just be like really grateful for anyone that is down to make the time.
And
'Cause
for
it's, like,
everyone who comes to your shows.
yeah, it's a very special thing, and like I think you can get in your head about like how many people showed up or whatever, and that's just so random and like it's so inconsequential. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of elements to it where you have to interact with people, and people show up for you, and you're ultimately like fostering community at our level of doing this thing, and that's
And
very
it's-
rewarding.
But I want to say it is a lot easier said than done, because
Yeah,
being a artist or being like a
Yeah.
performer, you're being really vulnerable, which is you get really insecure,
Yeah.
and it's hard to be insecure and really appreciative of everyone there at the same time.
yeah, totally.
I struggle with that, I guess.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that I'm definitely guilty of getting in my head about things, and
I don't know. I see a lot of shows local shows where the artist you can feel like tension between the artist and the audience,
yeah.
which
Oh, yeah. Like there was that recent show, like without naming names, I guess, but like
yeah,
that you performed. The guy was kind of like being kind of mean to the audience in a weird way. Like he didn't seem like he really like merited it, or like he wasn't at the level where like he should be doing that or something. And,
yeah. I mean, yeah, I kind of see both sides, because it's like
yeah,
it's a scary thing to do when you want people to at least like make an effort to be into it, or to like respond in the way that your music is meant to be responded to. Like he was playing like dance music, house music kind of thing,
yeah,
and he was upset that people weren't like groove into it, essentially.
yeah. There's an art to it. I mean, and there's like I think that self-awareness is a thing that I'm constantly realizing I can improve upon, and I think that one thing I say about people when they're doing something weird, I think that like my thing is that like, oh, they need to increase their self-awareness, and I think that like, I see that in myself too, so that's probably why that's my
Yeah.
my take on other people's issues. or
Well, of
whatever.
course, we're all projecting. We're all just like speaking
Yeah.
from our own experience.
Yeah, totally.
Can't help it. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So,
I
yeah.
mean, it's like frustrating when you're playing. Like, I used to play a lot more quiet shows, and when you're playing quietly and people are talking or like socializing,
Yeah.
but you can't like punish them for it.
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
you can, but like it's really hard to do in a way that's like funny, or in a way that's like,
Yeah.
like if you wanted to, like if you're a comedian and you can like do crowd work really well and like fuck with people who are messing up your show,
Yeah.
hecklers, whatever.
I mean, that's really a really funny thing to see a musician that's bombing as a comedian. Like
I
they're
see it
up
a
there
lot.
and they
I
just
see
like
it all
say
the
some
time.
shit. It's just like, oh my god, like just don't say anything. It's okay. Like
Yeah.
But I think that I'm definitely still in the nebulous stage of like my life with music, I guess. Like I've definitely not played 100 shows probably total. So
No?
No, I mean maybe 100 in my life or something like that. But
Yeah.
I think that
You haven't gotten your 10,000 hours?
no, I definitely don't have my 10,000 hours. So like how can I expect for anything I do to be like, you know, I'm not really sure what I'm trying to say here, but like, you know, I just acknowledge that every single performance is an opportunity and a lesson, and
It's practice.
it's practice, yeah. So
Yeah. I mean, I think the 10,000 hour thing, or like mastering something,
yeah,
there are like levels you can get to as a musician or
yeah,
artist, which are like take that long to get to, I think.
mm-hmm.
But you're never gonna master it. Like
Sure, yeah.
any
yeah.
good artist is gonna spend their whole life like trying to get better and better.
Yeah, and I think that also that kind of talk or sentiment can like maybe be discouraging to other people that
Yeah, totally.
haven't done it yet or whatever, which is kind of dumb and kind of not productive. So like, you know, I think
It is
that,
discouraging. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I haven't played 100 shows, so like, or whatever. But like, I don't know. I mean,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
that's just part of. It can be discouraging to just see somebody play who's like really talented.
that's true.
You know,
Yeah, definitely.
I've had that experience so many times where it's like I've gone to see someone that I really like and
Mm-hmm.
they blow me away, and I'm like, well, I'm never gonna be that good. I'm never ever gonna be that good. It's just
Right.
like no way. But they felt the same way, you know,
Sure. Yeah.
with the people they saw, and it's just part of being a.
And they might still feel that way, which is crazy. You know?
Definitely.
I think they're like, yeah, that's one thing I'm just trying to like, you know, process in my life is like, maybe someone seems like a dick or something like that, or, you know, they seem like a hothead or whatever. But like, I think that's like always, if someone's acting like a hothead, it's like probably like clearly because they don't actually feel very good about themselves.
It's always insecurity.
It's always that, and like I
Yep.
don't know. It's just like, yeah, I've had like so many ridiculous perspectives, I think, over the years where I've just kind of like, instead of just like just letting things happen, I've just like gotten in my own way because of like some held attachment or some thought or whatever. So like, and that leads to like, you know, even bigger, like obviously like other parts of my life. So
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole problem with being a human. Is like
mm-hmm.
these thoughts that you have that can be invasive and that can ruin your life and make you unhappy.
Totally. Yeah, because you aren't, you know, I mean, this is, you know, I'm sure that anyone listening to this will be familiar with the concept of like, you know, you are not your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like we are just like two things right now with like containers right here.
If
where,
everyone was their thoughts, everyone would be like a maniac, and like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because everyone has crazy thoughts. It just
yeah. Luckily, like my body isn't my thoughts because like
yeah.
yeah, when I have violent thoughts, you know, like I wouldn't want to have just be doing violence or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, like you don't have to believe any thoughts that you have either. Like just because
Exactly.
a thought floats into your head, like it can just be there and you can just let it go or whatever. So
I feel like there's different levels. Like you have a thought, and then you can believe that thought,
mm-hmm.
and then you can act on that thought,
mm-hmm.
and that's where like violence and, you know, that's where a lot of bad things stem from, is people believing and then acting on their thoughts that are coming from like depression, basically.
100%, yeah. And like I've felt a big connection between like my personal habits and like the land or like the space in which my thoughts occur. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, even, you know, going back to music a little bit, like the last show that we played at the Sunset, like I had like a really perfect like day of show day
Mm-hmm.
where I just like went on a couple of nice walks, and I went to a little
You didn't drink coffee.
I had a very small amount of coffee in the morning, I think, and
Fair.
you know, I exercised and I just made the time to load all the gear into the car and stuff. I just like did everything.
Yeah, I remember you were like much less anxious before the show than you normally are.
Yeah, so, you know, I think I'm aware of the fact that like most of the good experiences that have happened in my life have not been due to my thoughts. It's been like kind of like due to like just preparing well, or like just being well rested. Being well rested and nourished and stuff. So like, yeah, I think that's just creating the space for good things to happen, I guess. So.
Yeah, it's like so cliche, but you know, there's beauty all around you.
Absolutely, yeah.
And if you're paying attention to it, it's like incredible. But
yeah, you're more equipped to witness and enjoy that beauty if you're, you know, taking care of yourself. So.
Yeah, but it's you know, you're lucky if you can do that. You're lucky. I mean, I think everyone can do that,
Mm-hmm.
but you're lucky if the world that we live in has like led you to that place. I feel like,
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't think about that at all, and then a lot of people are too busy working to
Totally. Yeah.
ever think about that.
I mean, that's a massive thing that I have to think about often is like, oh, I had a shitty show. It's like, you live in a time and like
Yeah.
you live in conditions and circumstances where like you have the ability to drive a drum set to a place and get these people to agree to play
Take the night
song
off
with
of
you.
work.
Yeah, just like,
Yeah.
yeah, and you don't,
You're like basically agreeing to lose money to play a show.
yeah, 100%.
A lot of people don't have that privilege.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy to live in Seattle and not be like very rich, like me, and feel like you're living in poverty, or feel like you're poor,
Mm-hmm.
and identify as poor, and like
Right.
see the world through that lens. But then it's just not true. Like,
No, it's
I'm actually pretty rich. Like, even though I'll never be able to buy a house here.
yeah, richer than like most people ever that have ever lived.
Yeah, and
It's crazy.
And yeah, I'll have inheritance when my parents die. It won't be like a crazy amount, but they've saved some money. It's like, yeah, got a lot of privilege.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
lucky. I am rich, and I'm rich in so many other ways too. Just like experience, community, creatively.
Totally. I mean, I feel like I've not really come too close to this, but I've definitely witnessed in my life people that with like just infinite privilege that
Yeah.
don't seem like they're doing too well.
No.
Like they I think that sometimes like life purpose or whatever can be thrown off. When there's an imbalance like that, and
If you're worshiping money,
yeah, 100%. And
it's
like,
never good.
Like what if you're in that situation, like just don't be a dick. Like that's just like basically the only thing you really have to worry about.
Yeah.
If that's your situation. So
It makes it really hard though. I feel like if you have a lot of money, it's probably really hard not to be a dick. I mean,
sure.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, yeah, I guess it just depends on how you're wielding it or whatever, or like what the expectation is in your interactions.
I just feel like it corrupts people.
Sure, yeah.
Really, too much money.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like you have to make 6 figures to live in Seattle.
Right. You have to kind of like willingly be blind to other things, I guess. So just going back to the music thing, I guess, like, it's just an incredible privilege to be able to, play music and have a group of people together and, put a festival on, basically. So, like...
Yeah.
Like, last year I got a $4,000 grant from the city to put Waynestock on, which, like, covered some of the costs, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, the
You
last...
do a lot with 4,000.
Yeah. Like, this time it's just going to be out of my own pocket again. I'm going to try and sell tickets this year. Just to kind of, balance things out. Like... But luckily, I'm in a position where I can, like, kind of, spend a bit of money on this.
Yeah.
But ultimately, like, it would be nice to have it, make it feel sustainable, because
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. Everyone's constantly losing money all the time in their creative pursuits, and I think it's like it's just a thing that I guess everyone kind of knows but doesn't talk about or something.
Well, and it becomes this thing where it's like people don't stop trying to make any money because they feel like they're never going to make any money.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, you're right. Like, if your festival is turning a profit or breaking even, like, it's going to be more sustainable. And
100%.
if you can pay bands better, then you can get better bands. You
Yeah.
can get, you can make it really good. But
Yeah, and like it's...
you don't want it to become fucking Woodstock 99.
Exactly. I just like, I don't know. I'm at this point where like I really can't make any too big of promises to people that are performing about like what they're going to get paid.
Yeah.
And that is a bit frustrating, but yeah. So my I'll probably put a link to this in order to sell tickets for this.
Yeah, guys,
this
buy
version of Wayne
tickets.
Stock, because you know, I don't want to have to be the guy with like a chain link fence around the stage or whatever, and it just seems like that
No.
would be even more expensive to pull off. Like,
Yeah, that
I think every element of doing something at Volunteer Park is expensive, and
yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I'm still trying
Just
to figure
be
out
the guy.
economics.
Don't be the guy that puts up chain link fences, but be the guy that encourages people to donate and donate more. You know.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just trying to think about well, maybe ending on something here, like so like, what have you been inspired by lately, I guess?
Sure. Yeah. Very inspired by Rolling Thunder Review, the Martin Scorsese documentary about Bob Dylan's 1975 tour with Joan Baez and Joni Mitchell and Ramblin' Jack Elliott.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great doc. His rock docs are probably my favorite work of his, honestly.
Scorsese's.
Yeah. Have you
He
seen
did the George Harrison one too, right?
did the George Harrison one? He did the Gimme Shelter, the Rolling Stones one, about the Altamont Speedway show where the Hells Angels were there and people died.
Yeah.
He just has a good he doesn't try to do like these big whole career docs.
Mm-hmm.
He just takes one moment from history and like does a really good breakdown of it with a bunch of good footage. And anyway, this Rolling Thunder Review is just like really inspiring, like Bob's visionary focus.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, it starts with him coming out of coming out of hiding after Blood in the Tracks came out, I think.
Oh wow.
He like after he toured that or something, he hadn't made any public appearances for a long time, and then he kind of creeps out into like the scene, I think like the Greenwich Village scene that he started in, and like plays with people in coffee shops and like just like starts jamming with people and having these like late night jam sessions and stuff, and it turns and then he's like driving across America, and he says he saw like a thunderstorm, you know, rolling across the sky, and he was like wanted to do this tour, the Rolling Thunder Review, which was like a kind of a old school variety show where like, you know, there's a bunch of different acts and they tour across the country playing these like small venues, and they played at like this they played at the jail where Hurricane, the boxer who Dylan wrote that song about around that time, was in jail. They like played that song for him in jail.
Oh wow.
And yeah, I don't know, just the performance footage is just like, the band is incredible, and he's just like a completely magnetic performer and singer. It's just like,
wow, cool.
So cool. Yeah.
Have you seen The Irishman?
I haven't seen that yet.
It's about Bono. It's another great music documentary that Martin Scorsese did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So there's like all this stuff with him and the Edge, and like, you know, when they're little
Fedge.
kids at school and stuff. So yeah, The Irishman by Martin Scorsese. It's a great documentary about YouTube. But yeah, man, thank you very much for doing this. And
it was fun.
Yeah, cool. We'll see how it turns out, I guess.
Good luck with the rest of your podcast.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
I'm
sure I'll have
honored,
you on
very
again.
honored to be the first guest.
Yes.
And yeah, I'll be the first listener too.
Sweet. Okay. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for listening.